Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. One of 54 Below's most popular evenings has now been made a monthly event. Turn the beat around, 54 Below celebrates Studio 54. Dance the night away on the first Wednesday of every month as you relive the glory and the decadence that was the legendary Studio 54, featuring a full band and some of New York's most acclaimed singers. They roll out the dance floor for this occasion and have partnered with Emmanuel Pierre-Antoine Dance Studio. All 7 p.m. shows feature a dance lesson prior to the show, so put on your best disco outfits and arrive early. This fabulous evening is produced and directed by my guest. Please welcome Scott Coulter.
Hi there.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well. How about you?
Did I pronounce the dance studio properly?
You did. Emmanuel Pierre-Antoine. Yes.
I love it. So listen, first off, how are you and where are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm actually at my house in New York City, practicing my disco moves. I've got my most disco t-shirt on. This is a stormtrooper from Star Wars, which sort of coincides with the disco period. So although I look kind of underdressed, there's a reason for it.
I totally get it. So I've got my night at Studio 54. So just so you know, my husband Preston and I, we lived at Studio 54 during the Steve Rebell, Ian Schrager days. We used to go Sunday nights, Monday nights, and Thursdays, every Halloween and New Year's Eve. So I could tell you stories, my friend. There'll never be a better place than Studio 54, and there'll not be a better place than 54 Below, which is literally the basement where we spent many an evening at 54. So,
well, I should be interviewing you. I want to know what went on in that basement. A studio that's legendary. What went on down in that basement?
It's legendary, and now it's a stunning nightclub, supper club, and they just received a fabulous Tony Award honor, which is so well deserved. You know, I call it Broadway's premier supper club and Broadway's living room. So first of all, congratulations on Turn the Beat Around. 54 Below celebrates Studio 54. How excited are you to be presenting this evening?
You know what? It's kind of a dream come true. I was a couple of years after 54 Below has been here for over a decade now, which is hard to believe. But a couple of years after it opened, I was approached to become a director of original programming for the club, meaning I would create content for them. And one of the very first ideas I pitched was this night, was a night saluting the legendary space that we happen to be inhabiting. And so we've actually been doing it for about 8 years, sporadically here and there. But we did it last summer, and it's so much fun that Richard Frankel said, you know what, this should be a monthly event. And, you know, God love him, true to his word, now it is a monthly event. And it's really thrilling because a lot of the 54 Below regulars are there, but it's also bringing in a brand new audience that doesn't know the club at all. And they get to discover this beautiful jewel box of a room in the heart of New York City, sort of downstairs, where all this sort of magical stuff happens. And this show has been a real gift to everybody involved. Everybody loves to do it. We're going to rotate the cast, which is great, but everybody's upset because they want to do every one. It's so much fun. It's a nonstop dance party. And one thing that they've added for this monthly run is, as you mentioned, Emmanuel Pierre-Antoine Dance Studio is going to teach a dance class for anybody that wants to take. You don't have to take it; it's not mandatory, but it's just teach some people the hustle and a couple of special moves so they won't feel intimidated when they get on the dance floor. But unlike any other show at 54 Below, once the music starts at 7 o'clock, it does not stop until about 8:20. Well, actually, it stops twice. It stops for 2 brief periods because it's 3 different disco sets, all at the same beat. That was part of what made disco so great, is everything sort of ran at the same beat that you could dance to. They say if you had to do CPR, you should do it to the beat of Staying Alive. Well, so this has 3 different tempo sections, and it ramps up through the night. It's really cool. Michael Holland, who did the arrangements, did a phenomenal job. Because when I had the idea, I said, if we're going to do this, it needs to be like a disco playlist. It needs to be nonstop, one song segue into the other. And it has just become like the greatest party in town.
Okay, so take me back. So when guests enter, at 7 o'clock, because I go to the club all the time. The tables are beautiful. So what, a dance floor goes in? Tell us how the evening works.
So right in front of the stage, they bring in they don't just move the tables, they move the tables and bring in a dance floor, which is awesome. And so people are seated sort of around the periphery of the dance floor, which is in front of the stage. And right at 7 o'clock, it starts with, you hear a little bit of the intro to MacArthur Park, bam, 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 right into Disco Inferno, and we're off and running. And January was the first time that we've done it where they had the dance lesson before. And the minute the music started, everybody was up. In the past, it would take like a song or two for people to feel like they could stand up, but now it's instant. And we couldn't get them to sit down. It was really, really, really fun. And you know, everybody goes all out. People dress up. There's a costume contest. If you win the costume contest, you get 2 free tickets to a future 54 Below performance and a $100 food and drink voucher, which is awesome. So, I mean, some night I'm going to step out of the show and dress up and win that prize, because that's a nice gift.
Oh, that's an incredible gift. I think I'm going to pull my old wedgie dancing platform shoes out of there and find some disco outfit. Yeah. That's a great deal, though. I mean, 2 tickets to another show and a $100 voucher. That's an incredible other evening at 54 Below. So, all right. So let's just talk about, the hustle. I mean, what are some of the wonderful steps they teach?
Well, okay. So in all fairness, the first month I was upstairs with the cast putting the finishing touches on things, because the day of our show, 4 people called out sick with COVID. So I was like, what? So we all sort of scrambled, and we've been doing the show so long, we can all sing everything. So we sort of reassigned parts. So I know they teach the hustle. I'm not sure what else they teach. But the night is really a free form night. I've seen some people make comments like, oh, I don't want it to be like a structured dance night. It's not a structured dance night at all. That's just a fun sort of gift to you, to teach you one dance step if you don't know any. But clearly you know them all. So perhaps you should start coming to teach the 9:30 dance class. There's not one currently, but you would be an excellent person to handle that.
You know, that's really funny because, you know, I'm sure the young kids now all look back, like all my nieces and nephews are all like, oh, Uncle Richard, I wish I was able to have gone to Studio 54 or learn those incredible dance steps. But it's just a free for all. That's the great thing about disco. You can move any way you want to go as long as you keep the beat to the music, or even if you don't, just move a leg, move a hip, move an arm, do whatever. I mean,
that's right.
Besides Broadway show tunes and soundtracks, disco is my life, just so you know.
No, I believe it. And I understand that, because disco it's just a joyous celebration, which is what show tunes generally are as well. And like musical theater, like Broadway cast albums, disco is a finite thing. Like if you were to do the music of the 90s, that means something different to everyone who was alive in the 90s, or the music of the 80s. There were so many different genres, but disco was such a short, finite period that those songs sort of live in a moment in time. And so every generation since then knows the same disco songs and loves them. So everybody, all ages, are on the dance floor, you know, living their best life to this music that brings us all together.
Right.
Really
Let's talk about some of the incredible songs that you have in this set. I mean, there's so many incredible disco songs that everyone's going to be like, oh my God, I know that song. I play it in the car.
Right. Well, I mean, my personal favorite is the number 1 song from the Queen of Disco, which we say to the audience, the Queen of Disco is, and they all say Donna Summer. And I say, not Donna Summer, because she actually doesn't hold the title. The woman who actually holds the title as the Queen of Disco is from Newark, New Jersey, and that's Gloria Gaynor.
Gloria Gaynor, yeah.
I Will Survive is that song, which has a very special place in music history. It was the first song, the first disco song. It was the first song to win a Grammy Award for Best Disco Song. It was also the last song to win a Grammy Award for Best Disco Song, because it was a 1-year category. By the time the Grammys got on board with disco, disco was over. So that song really speaks to what made disco so great. While a lot of the songs are about, you know, I Feel Love or YMCA, what can happen at the gym, like there's a lot of sex and disco and a lot of, you know, but I Will Survive is about empowerment and just claiming your good for yourself and standing up and being a survivor. So to see that whole room of people singing along to that, each one of whom, listen, if you're in New York City, you're a survivor. You have some sort of survivor story. So to see that whole room singing along to I Will Survive is really, really thrilling. To see the whole room doing, you know, the arms to YMCA. It's like, I mean, is there another song, maybe the Macarena, which I couldn't do, but I can't think of anything else where that's so simple and so, you know, thrilling and just joyous. I keep using that word, but that's really what disco is.
So I can only imagine, because I've known people who have gone to this, and I've spoken to them and said it's one of the best nights they
Yeah.
have ever spent out, was going to this event at 54 Below. Some of them were old enough to have gone and danced in discos, and some brought, like, their kids or just friends of theirs who are like, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. It's so freeing.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time we did it, we get a wide variety of audience members, but the first time the audience was on the older side. And I remember thinking, is this going to work? And it was like magic, because disco is almost 50 years old. I mean, it started like around 75, 76 is when it really kicked in. So we're almost at the 50-year mark. So the people that were dancing, if you were 20 years old in 1970, you're now, 70. So that's what's so great about it. It's a night filled with music, but also memories of your youth or of your past or of your best friends or whatever. It's a moment in this particular time that we're all together in the club, but it's also a moment in each individual person's own time. And it's really sort of it's like, it's not a wedding band, and it's nothing like a wedding. But when you go to a wedding and everybody's dancing, but when they put the disco on, everybody at the wedding gets up. It's the one genre that everybody sort of, feels free to express themselves to. So it's been really, really, really fun.
Okay, so you have an incredible band. That's amazing. I mean, how many pieces does it change? I mean,
it's 5 pieces. We have Michael Holland, who's our music director, musical arranger, on piano. Larry Lelly is almost always on the drums. Matt Scharfglass is almost always on the bass. We have a couple of different guitar players. The last time was Micah Burgess. And on saxophone, flute, and clarinet, it's usually Jeremy Clayton, but the last time was Sam Dillon. So it's a 5-piece band. I mean, it sounds incredible. I mean, it sounds like, holy, I can't believe this is happening. It's really just, it's thrilling. And the audience is singing along. And I mean, it's a party. I mean, it really is a party. And it's so much fun. I know that sounds so stupid and simple, but
yeah, but that's what we need now. We need fun. I know this evening offers that for absolutely everybody. And you have an incredible lineup of singers, right? So everybody sings different songs during the night.
We do. Like, it just keeps rotating. It's like you turn the radio on and it's one song after the other, and nobody gets introduced. They just come and go and they've come back in and come back out, and they cover each other. And you just spoke to something very important. You said we need to have fun. And that was kind of the thing about the disco period. It was right after the turbulent 60s and all that went on there. And it was right before the AIDS crisis. So it was a window when America was just about having fun, when having fun was sort of the escape that everyone needed and still needs. So yes, it has an incredible cast. And as I said, it's going to rotate. But the next month, we have Hamilton star Blaine Alden Krause is going to be with us before he goes back on tour as Burr. We have Anthony Murphy from Aladdin and Diana. We have Jessica Hendy, who, is like one of the legendary belters of our time, Kelly Rabke, Lorinda Lasitza, like a whole host of people. And it's sort of an embarrassment of riches to think that you get to see one of these people in a night, but to see all of them really at the top of their game, just like shredding these disco songs. It's thrilling.
Do they get dressed up too with their best disco wear?
Oh, they do. Everybody has disco wear. In fact, I wear like this suit, but then this is my big disco move, is this.
Oh, I like that.
Right? Yeah. So that sort of makes everything work. And they don't think, who is this old guy up there? Like, it sort of like takes all the years away. But
it's like, what's going on behind what's going on in that man's eyes? He lived through the disco era.
Right.
No, but it's like the greatest thing for us, and we used to go to Studio 54, is you let all your inhibitions go at the door. Right. That's the great thing about having this done. I mean, this is a no-brainer when you came up with this idea. Let's do this at 54 Below, which is the basement, which was legendary, right below the most famous disco of all time, Studio 54. So just people being at this event that you put together must make them feel like they're a part of history that happened in this building, and they're standing in the same place where the likes of Liza Minnelli, Mick Jagger, Baryshnikov, everybody was down there. Halston, Calvin Klein, everybody was there. Cher.
And you.
I was
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time in that basement, believe me, just, and you could hear the music, but I mean, just the history of the building and how beautiful the club is now. I mean, when you walk through the doors of 54 Below, you go down that beautiful staircase and you're going into a whole other time.
Right. Right.
You must know that as, as a producer and a director, like, you open that door, right next to the old marquee of Studio 54, and you walk into that building, and there's such a history there,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's still like 54 Below still has a little velvet rope out there. You still kind of have to every night, not just for us, but every night, like old Studio 54 used to have, which is so cool. And another thing of, you mentioned the history of the room, which we go into a little bit in the show. As I said, the music does stop briefly twice during the night, and we give a little bit of history and like what happened in this room and like the legendary things that people that were there and things that went on. But the thing that I think is most shocking to me about the show and the need for this show is there's nowhere to dance in New York City anymore. Like even when I moved here in the early 90s, there were dance clubs all over. You could go dancing every night if you wanted. And now, I mean, they may exist, but I don't know about them. And they're not prominently advertised or talked about. So this is really a chance for people to sort of experience not just what Studio 54 was, but what New York City used to be. You used to be able to go out all night long with your friends and dance and just throw caution to the wind and have a great time and revel in each other, being with each other, but also just sharing this great music.
So I had goosebumps of just you saying that. But like I said, the perfect combination of 54 Below and Studio 54, totally a no-brainer. And if you have to take the elevator down, I'm going to tell guests, if you can't do the stairs, you go into the Studio 54 building, and right in the lobby is this fabulous Studio 54 sign that says 54 building. I mean, that's history too. I mean, that's an amazing,
It is.
take the elevator down. Now let's talk about costumes of the people that come there. I mean, like you said, you win 2 tickets to another show at 54 Below and a $100 voucher. I mean, I'm sure people are putting on their full disco wear to come to this thing, right?
They should. I mean, I'm gonna take a little walk with you. Sorry.
Yeah.
I should have had this ready. I didn't think we would talk about costumes, but we did. But
Yeah.
there was a fabulous woman at the last show named Lila. She was at the 9:30 show. She danced the whole time. She was fabulous. She was like, I want to take you home. And I was like, my husband would not stand for that. But she had this fabulous hat and she put it on my head at one point, right? I mean, come on. Look at this.
Oh,
is that a look? Is that a look? I mean, that's a look. So I'm gonna.
That is Grace Jones,
right?
Michael Jackson at Studio 54.
Right.
Also has to do Google pictures from there, and I guarantee you, they will see that hat with somebody wearing a hat. Just that's fabulous.
It's fabulous. She gave it to me. She just gave it to me. She had such a great time. She said, it's yours. Take it, keep it. So it's going to become a part of the show. But people go all out. I mean, it's really because it's like I said, you don't get to go dancing anymore. So you don't get to embrace sort of this, anything goes sort of freedom vibe and dance like disco and, sort of let loose. So it's really, it's a party, but it's more than that. It's kind of it's a release actually, which I think we as we've spoken to, we all really need right now after being pent up for so many years in our homes and afraid to go out. And listen, 54 Below has a very strict COVID policy with their performers. We all have to prove test and which is great because they take care of everybody. And you can be on the dance floor with a mask if you want. You can be on the dance floor without a mask. Like you can feel free to be whatever you want down there. And it's just really, I hope you're coming. Are you coming? Please.
Oh, I'm coming. It's one of the safest environments, just so audiences that are watching. 54 Below takes their COVID very seriously. And like I said, it's a very safe place to sit and feel comfortable. And people can still order drinks all night and order food and everything else, right?
Yes, you can eat throughout the show. You can come early and have dinner. You can eat throughout the show. People eat, some people just sit and observe. You don't have to dance, but it really is, there's no judgment in this room. And which is why everybody gets up because it's just fun to flail around. If you think you're not a dancer, like, oh, my husband's not a dancer. Well, yes, he is. When the disco music starts, if you can get him up there, everybody has the best time, which is why people have come back again and again. Which is why we're really hoping that this once a month thing really, really takes off.
Yeah. I mean, the food there is superb. So like I said, the chef's menu there is absolutely gorgeous and the drinks are gorgeous. I mean, I know there's a name for people that do that shake drinks. The staff at 54 Below is so wonderful. And like I said, they mix these, I'm sure you have disco drinks on this Wednesday night, right?
They have a special disco drink for this night, specifically made for this night. And, people are downing them, I'm telling you, because it's hard work to disco.
Yeah.
You work up a sweat, you got to keep drinking. The staff at 54 Below is one of the great staffs of the world. Just from top to bottom, from the owners to Jen Tepper, who books it, to the sound and light people, to the maitre d', the host, the hostess, the bar staff, the wait staff, the people in the kitchen. The kitchen comes out. I mean, it's so fun. You can see the whole kitchen like peering around, like dancing in the doorway. And as soon as they're, let go, they sort of come join the party too. It feels like a family party. The big disco song "We Are Family" is actually not in the show, but the last time I thought, we should add that, because that's kind of what it feels like in the basement. It feels like a family.
Yeah.
Which is like the great thing about New York City in general. It's made up of people who came from around different parts of the world to find their family. And I think disco was a big part of that. That period in time was about a lot of people, finding and feeling free with their newfound family. So I thought we should add that song. That's something that it needs.
See, that's what you can do. There's so many wonderful disco songs during the time period. Like, oh, for the next month, we'll add this song in. What are some of your favorite songs that are a part of the evening, Scott?
Well, I know I stopped talking about it. I got started and then I stopped. But I mentioned "I Will Survive" in YMCA. But a song that I wasn't terribly familiar with, but I knew, but now I love, is "Boogie Oogie Oogie." Get on up on the floor. It's like an invitation. It's one of those moments where people there are people that know every word to every song, obviously, but that one is sort of a really, really fun thing to watch, because in my mind, it was one of my lesser known disco songs. That's a great one. Disco Inferno is fantastic. YMCA is fantastic. It's Raining Men closes the show, which is sort of the very tail end of disco. It was actually after the Studio 54 days, but we've included it because it's such a great crowd pleaser. The minute that intro starts, anyone that's not already up is on the floor. And what I think is so great about that song, besides just being such a fun song, is it was written by Paul Jabara, who wrote a bunch of disco hits for Donna Summer, but it was co-written with Paul Schaefer, who most people know from The Late Show or Late Night with David Letterman, and don't realize what a great songwriter he was, and that one of the classic disco songs is actually his. So he's on my list to call and invite. I love Paul. He's been so supportive over the years. So I hope we can get him down there and maybe even play one night. That'd be so awesome if he jumped up and did play "It's Raining Men" with us. But that's in there. Of course, the last song of the night. I said, it's time for the last song, and they all shout out the title. And I was like, I know what it is. Like, there's only one last call disco song, which of course is "Last Dance." So that's a great party. A lot of the songs, it's interesting, they start slow. We do "Enough Is Enough, No More Tears," the Barbra Streisand, Donna Summer duet, which starts like, "It's raining," and then the beat kicks in. "I Will Survive" starts kind of slow and the beat kicks in. It's Raining Men is beat the whole time, but "Last Dance" starts slow and then the beat kicks in. So it's interesting how there was sort of a, later on in disco, there was like a form, like they sort of like, make you wait for it sort of thing. Like it started, the beat's coming, but you got to wait. And it's sort of fun to see that anticipatory feeling ripple throughout the crowd. Oh, and "Turn the Beat Around," of course, is in there. What a great song is that? Vicki Sue Robinson. I mean, I know a lot of younger people know it from when Gloria Estefan covered it, but Vicki Sue Robinson, that original recording, it's magic. I mean, it's electrifying.
No, it's funny because there's the verse to a lot of these disco songs. There's that verse, which you say is slow, and then you hear the bump, 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 that it just blows the roof off the place.
Right.
Which you could. So, my final question is to you: what do you enjoy the most about this night?
Well, I mentioned the sense of family, and I think that there's family in the room, but also family on the stage. I mean, a lot of these people, we've known each other for a long time, and they're, some of the most successful people in their individual fields and musical genres. And just to get to come together, every time we come together, it really feels like a love fest. It's a celebration for us as much as it is for the audience. And like I said, nobody wants, it's the one time I make a call and everybody's like, yes, whatever I had to do, I'll clear my calendar to be there and sing, because it's a gift to be together on the stage, and it's a gift to give this evening to the people in the room. And I think that's what's what's the most fun about it, is that it really feels like everybody walks away having had a really, really wonderful experience. And it's nice in life when you get to be part of an evening like that, that is just, again, about joy.
Yeah. So it's the first Wednesday of every month.
Of every month at 7 and 9:30,
Oh, so you have the whole night.
a whole night. We do it twice. It's tired. It's exhausting. It's a great workout.
You get your disco workout. Like this
That's
is your monthly work. Like, why do you
100%.
look so good? I do my disco workout once a month at 54
Twice a month.
below.
That's
I
right.
love that there's two shows and people can buy and have a ticket and stay the whole night, right? If they want
They
to.
can, yeah. And what last month there was a table of 16 people that came to the 7 o'clock and stayed for the 9:30. Because once you're out and dancing, you don't want to go home. So yeah.
Oh, that's really incredible. So everyone watching, once again, one of 54 Below's most popular evenings has now become a monthly event called Turn the Beat Around 54 Below Celebrates Studio 54. You'll dance the night away on the first Wednesday of every month as you relive the glory and decadence that was the legendary Studio 54, featuring a full band and some of New York's most acclaimed singers. And the 7 o'clock show they partnered with the Emmanuel Pierre Antoine Dance Studio. That's incredible. So if people want to learn like professional dance steps for the night, that's pretty incredible stuff. And you might even win a prize for best dressed. So for tickets, go to 54below.com. Scott, this has been great catching up with you, my friend.
Yeah, great seeing you. Thanks for having me.